The Gaza conflict has ignited a wave of instability across West Asia, with geopolitical repercussions extending far beyond the immediate violence. There are players at work over here, some actively involved, some reluctantly so. We have the West that has played a very important role in the Israel-Hamas war, supporting Israel. We also have West Asia, where important Arab countries have come out in support of Palestine and the cause of Palestine. But there are some major Arab leaders, world powers, and countries who have not come out in support the way they should have. The question is why? Countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, but particularly the biggest Arab world nation, Saudi Arabia. Now, as the world watches, the impact is felt in unexpected corners of the region, including two of the most ambitious infrastructure and economic projects of the 21st century. Saudi Arabia's NEOM megacity and the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, or what is known as IMEC. Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. While Saudi Arabia has been very vocal about its criticism of Israeli actions in Gaza and against Palestinians, there are reasons why they've also been very careful. NEOM, the flagship project of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, is designed to be a groundbreaking city, an ultra-modern, high-tech haven that will transform how they live, work, and travel. But where is NEOM? Look at this map and you'll see why Saudi Arabia has been very jittery about this entire conflict. Hundreds of billions of dollars invested in this one city. NEOM, a flagship project of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, is a project that is looking to mirror cities like Dubai in the UAE. A business hub, one that attracts investments, and one that becomes a huge project that will be bringing in billions of dollars into Saudi Arabia. Also, a country that is known to be a closed country now opening up to the world. And in such a scenario, to have a conflict between Israel and Palestine does not bode well for the future of NEOM City in Saudi Arabia. The map gives it away. Adjacent to Israel is this entire city, and with the conflict, we have seen dwindling of investments going into NEOM. There are concerns with regards to whether there's going to be stability, and if there is no stability, how will then this project take flight? At the heart of the project is the Line, a 170-kilometer smart city that promised to house millions in a linear, environmentally sustainable metropolis.
I don't recall a project ever in history with a number like $500 billion. And that is the proof that what we are going to do there is creating a new country in a country, a new economy that is going to support the main economy of Saudi Arabia.
But today, as regional instability deepens, this vision has faced substantial hurdles. In response to mounting financial pressures, geopolitical tensions, and dramatic reduction in foreign investment, NEOM's once grand vision is now shrinking. Moreover, Nadhmi al-Nasser, the long-time chief executive of Saudi Arabia's $500 billion NEOM mega project, has been replaced by Ayman al-Mudaffar, who is the acting CEO, which was announced by NEOM's board of directors. The line, originally planned to span 170 kilometers, has been drastically reduced to just 2.4 kilometers, with the population now capped at 30,000, a far cry from the initial 1.5 million people. Saudi Arabia, despite setbacks, is determined to keep NEOM alive. Recently, the kingdom secured a 10 billion Saudi Arabian riyal or $2.7 billion revolving credit facility from top banks to sustain key projects like Sindalah, Trojena, and Oxygen. However, NEOM's success depends on one key factor: stability. The escalating Gaza conflict threatens to disrupt the very thing Saudi Arabia needs most: access to the Red Sea, a vital artery for trade and investment.
Yeah, there's a few things going on. From an economic perspective, of course, NEOM is hugely important to Saudis. It's billions, many billions worth of investments. It was supposed to be, however, an opportunity to bring countries closer together. This original concept developed at the peak of discussions about the Abraham Accords, and Israelis were some of the people who would have benefited from an opening that it presented. It would have drawn Israel and Arab Gulf states closer together in terms of project coordination. That opportunity seems to be shrinking, but NEOM's economic importance to Saudi Arabia is not. And it's been a signature project for them to attract investments and to push their economic model and their vision of 2030 to the international community, even though now it is no longer quite as Western oriented as when it first started, perhaps because it is now being managed by other people who are much closer to China than they are to the US. However, there are security concerns outside NEOM. Of course, the Houthis had previously attacked Saudi Arabia and UAE multiple times, and even recently, despite the fact that the Saudis have been engaged in peace talks with the Houthis for the past 2 years, there have been some incidents and attacks that they have had to respond to. Iran, too, has actually openly threatened Saudi Arabia and other countries in the region with potential attacks in the event they assisted Israel in any other ways. And of course, with Trump coming to office, there are concerns about managing these relationships. On the one hand, Saudi Arabia and Iran are benefiting from trade, or at least those who are involved in the trade are benefiting. I wouldn't say that the overall relations between those countries have improved greatly. But on an official level, they view it as beneficial because it's a source of financial income for a number of parties involved in those engagements, and they're reluctant to back away from these commitments. Saudis also see it as a potential security guarantee, which is actually being leveraged very effectively by Iran. Iran seems to be a much more deciding factor in this relationship. Why would that be the case when Iran is a militarily weaker country and Saudi Arabia is equipped with billions of dollars of top-notch US equipment? The reason being is that Iran has been extremely effective in penetrating societies beyond establishing purely military control through its proxies. It has in the past caused disorder in Saudi Arabia by aligning with the radical factions, and it has formed also relationships with the assorted Islamist groups, which can be reignited at any moment. So this relationship with Iran is a sort of bear hug, which has its advantages for the few, but for the most part, it is not necessarily a good sign for Saudi Arabia and its role in the region.
Saudi Arabia is at a crossroads. While NEOM represents the future, the current geopolitical volatility complicates things. The conflict in Gaza risks destabilizing the Red Sea, which is crucial for NEOM's connectivity. Saudi Arabia is forced to navigate these choppy waters with caution. Moving on to the IMEC project, a joint initiative between India, the Middle East, and Europe, which is poised to reshape global trade by enhancing connectivity between these critical regions.
The India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, this is nothing but historic. It will be the most direct connection to date between India, the Arabian Gulf, and Europe, with a rail link that will make trade between India and Europe 40% faster.
But once again, the Gaza conflict presents significant challenges. Israel's Haifa port, central to the IMEC route, is already feeling the strain. The growing uncertainty around regional security has led to an uptick in insurance premiums, escalating freight costs, and an atmosphere of risk aversion among investors and shipping companies. The conflict has effectively put a halt on Saudi-Israeli normalization talks, which is key to the project's success. The Israel-Gaza situation has also created ripple effects that threaten Saudi Arabia's carefully laid plans for economic transformation. Stability in the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz, which are vital maritime choke points, is essential for the success of both NEOM and IMEC. With mounting security risks, including Houthi attacks in the Red Sea and the ever-present tension in the Strait of Hormuz, Saudi Arabia faces a dire challenge to maintain uninterrupted trade routes. As tensions rise, Saudi Arabia has remained firmly on the sidelines of the Gaza conflict, albeit being vocal about the Israeli action in Gaza. Despite being a major player in the region, Saudi Arabia's leadership has carefully refrained from direct involvement in the hostilities. This cautious stance is rooted in a pragmatic desire to avoid further escalation and critically to preserve the kingdom's broader economic goals. According to experts, Saudi Arabia is walking on a fine line. As a leader of the Islamic world, it faces immense pressure to support the Palestinian cause, but it also has to prioritize the stability of its economic initiatives like NEOM and IMEC. Engaging in the Gaza war would risk drawing Saudi Arabia into a broader regional conflict, which could severely undermine its Vision 2030 goals. This balancing act between political and economic interests underlines Saudi Arabia's reluctance to become entangled in the Gaza war. Instead, the kingdom is focused on securing diplomatic alliances, notably with Iran and even Yemen's Ansar Allah, in a bid to stabilize the region without further inflaming tensions. As Saudi Arabia navigates this volatile geopolitical terrain, its ambitious projects hang in the balance. The future of these initiatives depend not only on financial investments and technological innovation, but also on the broader stability of West Asia. Saudi Arabia's strategy remains focused on maintaining its economic vision for the future while ensuring that the region does not spiral further into chaos. In this complex moment, the Gaza conflict is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in West Asia and the delicate balancing act that countries like Saudi Arabia must perform to safeguard both its regional ambitions and its international aspirations. Thank you for watching Statecraft.